Hello, welcome to the Patriot Training YouTube channel. My name is Clay Howell. I am the owner and head firearms instructor of Patriot Training. The purpose of this video is to answer a question that somebody sent me. In one of our more recent videos, I detailed some of the things that you can say that indicate that you've never taken a gun class, or as I put it, how to say I've never taken a gun class without actually saying the words I've never taken a gun class. And the video was intended 100% for humor, but as is often the case, somebody maybe misinterpreted that, and they wrote me an email. They were very courteous, and they said, hey, sounds like you don't like what it is that you do. Why not look for something else to do? And that's a fair question. I don't hold that against anybody. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think it's a really good question, and I'm glad it was asked. And I look forward to the opportunity to answer that for you here on this video. So first and foremost, my regular day job pays the bills and allows us to live comfortably. We are not rich. We are not poor. We are firmly middle class. I do all right for myself. The Patriot Training gun classes are my side gig. They are a way that I take pleasure in life. I enjoy teaching people how to use firearms more effectively. That is a source of entertainment, pride, gratitude. I really, really enjoy it, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And so what I thought I would do on this video is turn things around. And for those that felt that maybe the prior video was a negative Nancy, and it was not intended to be so. It was intended to catalog some things that were funny. But let's go a little bit more serious. Let's talk about things that I am thankful for, particularly as it pertains to Patriot Training. And these are in no particular order. The first thing that comes to mind, however, that I am thankful for are the instructor corps of Patriot Training. The full-blown instructors, in addition to myself, would include Terry Couts, our medical instructor. It would include Charles Green of Green Haven Customs. He is one of our pistol instructors. Jeff Mayhew is also a pistol and rifle instructor. And Brooks Whitlow, who is predominantly a rifle instructor. And I'm going to say a little bit about each of these men. First and foremost, these are men that are what I call a classic gentleman. They are dangerous men who have that under control, which means they are gentlemen. Terry served honorably in the Army National Guard as a 13 Foxtrot forward observer, and in his civilian life he has worked in EMS for over 10 years. Terry is a critical care paramedic for a major EMS service in Middle Tennessee, and the man has saved countless lives. And the Bible says that greater love hath no man than this, that he lay down his life for his friends. And that epitomizes Terry. And, sometimes I will say out of hand that Patriot Training is lucky to have him. And that is just like the understatement of the year, my friends. Terry is an awesome fella. Good to know him. It's beyond lucky that we have him on staff. He puts more time and effort and energy into maintaining, creating, and updating class syllabus for medical classes. He puts as much time into that as I put into gun classes very easily. So it's very, very difficult to find somebody that's that involved, that's that gung-ho, that is that sold on getting the word out. And Terry most certainly is. Charles, I've known Charles quite a while. We went to the same church together. We served on the same security team for quite a while. And he doesn't know it, but Charles has taught me as much as I've ever taught him. And Charles often uses me as a sounding board, especially since the passing of his father. And his father, Bill Green, man, I deeply respected and admired tremendously, and that was a loss for me, but more so for Charles, being that was his father. And without a doubt, Charles has confided in me some things with regards to that, and personal thoughts and feelings and things of that sort. And I can understand that because I lost my father a few years prior to Pastor Green passing. So, Charles and I have a kindred spirit in that regard. He's every bit as much of a smart aleck as I am. Awesome family, 2 beautiful little girls. His wife is also a Patriot Training alumnus. Just love that whole family. Really, really good, salt of the earth kind of people. And Charles is the one that, when we're on the line, the everyday person looks and says, "Okay, hey, look, I can do it." Charles is he's that working guy. He's definitely that kind of a person, and makes people realize that they too can do it. And make no mistake, he's an absolute gun nerd. The guy is a certified instructor. He's a Glock armorer. His hobby, his passion, his pastime, in addition to teaching Patriot Training classes, is he customizes guns, most notably Glocks, although he does handle other guns as well. Outstanding shooter. So, I just can't say enough positive about Charles. Jeff Mayhew started with Patriot Training, started taking classes a few years ago. And for a time, there was almost no classes that Jeff did not attend. He came over and over again and had very important questions to ask when he does speak. He's more of a soft-spoken kind of a guy. And don't let that fool you. He's a wealth of information. We are absolutely fortunate to have Jeff on the line as a rifle and pistol instructor. And unlike a lot of other people, he gets it. And Jeff, like Charles, adds that blue-collar element to it because Jeff is a general contractor. He works with his hands. That's how he works for a living. And, he's not going to come in here and use million-dollar words and things of that sort. He's going to get the point across very simply from that blue-collar point of view. And so for that reason, Jeff is an absolutely essential part of our instructor corps. Good fellow, heads up the security team at his church. And, he and his family just really, really good salt of the earth people too. Brooks Whitlow. A good way to categorize Brooks, he is a student of the gun. And he reminds me of the people that take the martial arts and they get into 1 or 2 main martial arts and they really, really study and they get very, very competent at that martial art. And then they get a good grasp of the other martial arts around them and really become that student of the art. And Brooks has done this with the rifle. He actively takes on challenges. At one point in time, his close-up rifle skills were far superior to his marksmanship skills, so he intentionally made himself better at marksmanship in order to, as he likes to put it, practice what he sucks at. Brooks is a lot more intelligent than a lot of people think, and that's not a knock on him. It's that people can misassume a lot of things very quickly. And sometimes he's one of those people that false assumptions will be made about. And that's a really good attribute for an instructor to have, because many, many times, especially an urban rifleman, that is his sweet spot. That's the class he really enjoys teaching. That's the one that's really right in his wheelhouse. Many, many times we've had urban rifleman classes where one time I lost my voice. It was the only time I've ever lost my voice in a class. And Brooks picked up and just ran with it, and we got a lot of high-quality recommendations and good quality feedback from the students of that class, because the instruction level did not tail off because the assistant had to speak up. No, they got the same material, just in a slightly different voice. And in a more recent class, we just kind of flipped a coin right before the lesson module was to be taught, and was it going to be Clay, was it going to be Brooks? And the people that came out of that class came out realizing that there was nothing that I could teach that he couldn't equally teach. I really could drop the keys to the place on his desk and say, all right, teach this class, and come back a couple days later to pick up my materials, and the people that take the class would get every bit the amount of quality and information that they have come to expect from Patriot Training. So I'm very, very thankful for my instructor corps. People might say assistant instructors. No, each of these people is a primary instructor. I'm thankful for my students. And if I were to detail my students like I just did the instructors, we would be here all day. And you know what? We've had over 1,000 people come through the doors at Patriot Training, and that is something to be cherished, and that is something to be celebrated. And that makes me very, very happy. Not because of money, not because of fame, nothing like that, but rather because I feel like now I have 1,000 more friends than I used to. And the students that come to Patriot Training are the highest quality people on earth. And it was noted at the time of this filming, in the most recent class that I taught, one of the participants actually said this in the debrief at the end of the day. He goes, I love coming out to these classes. He goes, I meet a bunch of new people, and yet I know that they are high quality people, and they are like-minded, and we value a lot of the same things, and they're good people. And that's very true. And so I am very thankful for the students who come through the doors at Patriot Training. The next thing I am very, very thankful for is I would like to say a word of thanks to the range that we partner with, Mountaintop Gun and Archery. I tell you what, that's a range owned by a very fine family in the McMinnville area, the Curtis family. And Mr. and Miss Curtis, just really great people. They've invited me to their house on more than one occasion. We have broken bread. Mr. Curtis and I have an absolutely fantastic working relationship. His daughter Carrie is often my point of contact, and Carrie is closer in age to myself. And so we speak frequently, and Carrie is an alderman in the city of McMinnville at the time of this filming. And that's a position she has worked very hard to be elected to, and I know that she executes her duties with the intent of making her city better. And so it's just really high quality people, and they have really opened their doors to us. And we try, as Patriot Training instructors and also the students, we try to give them a recommendation every time we can. In fact, when I started partnering with Mountaintop, the Patriot Training Facebook page had more recommendations than Mountaintop did. And now more people have recommended Mountaintop on Facebook than have recommended Patriot Training. So that's really, really neat. And that's a testament to the type of facility and the type of people that run it. Good folks all around. The last thing to name, and certainly not the least, are the people who taught me, my instructors. And I would be remiss to put names on this list without clarifying why each person is on this list. And I've had many other instructors that were very, very good, and their name could very easily be put on this list, and it is no offense to them that they were left off. These are the people that stand up in my mind just a little bit more. First and foremost, out of those people, John Suarez, from whom I took karate starting in 1985. And, as far as influences on my life, he's probably second only to my father in terms of, positive role models that I have tried to follow in their footsteps. And the funny thing is, John Suarez never has taught me a single thing on guns. He's a martial artist. And yet, if somebody comes and takes a Patriot Training class, if they know both, and we have several students who know both me and John Suarez, and I have asked them, I say, did you not hear a gun class taught by John Suarez? And they would look and say, yes, that's exactly what's happened. So there's a lot of how he teaches that comes across in my teaching style. And Patriot Training could not be without him. Moving on, Mike and Marie Bain of Defensive Specialties in Georgia are my NRA training counselors from whom I took the NRA Rifle Instructor Certification class. And Mike and Marie have a very unique setup for their teaching, and I have recommended people there. In fact, as of this filming, 3 of the Patriot Training assistant instructors are there getting their rifle instructor certification as well. And great people, just absolutely outstanding. Here's your funny anecdote, because it sounds like I'm just a broken record that all these people are great, and they are great people without a doubt, and I don't want to diminish that at all. Funny anecdote, I'm in the NRA rifle instructor class, and we're doing the shooting component. We're on the range, and you've got to understand that Marie is a competitive shooter. And in shooting competitions, the marksmanship competitions, you use the sling to help steady your shot. And of course, I learned how to use the sling many moons ago in the Appleseed program, fantastic program. And throughout acquiring the NRA marksmanship designations that I've acquired, there are several of the components where you can use a sling, and so I did. It's a wonderful shooting tool. Much like a bipod or a rear bag or anything like that, it's a tool that once you understand how to use it can really help you. And so I knew this about Marie. I had seen the certificates and awards on her wall that she was a competitive shooter and is. And so we're out on the line, and there are 4 of us getting ready to shoot. And I said, Miss Marie, may I use my sling to help steady my shot? And she turns to me, and she gets the most delightfully evil grin. And she said, yes, of course. I would love for you to. And at that moment in time, a couple of the other people were like, wait, what? And one of the gentlemen there had been in the Marine Corps at one point in time in his life. And he says, oh, shoot, if I had known this, I would have brought my sling for my rifle, not my tactical sling. Because he knew how to use the sling as well. And with Marie's blessing, I gave a crash course in some of the ways that the gentlemen there could use their slings in order to help steady their shot. Now, they all had tactical slings, so we just covered the hasty sling concept because that was the only one that they could really use. However, the rifle that I brought had a traditional sling on the bottom, and I had the old USGI canvas loop sling, and so I put it in a loop sling configuration and used it that way to help steady my shot. So, funny story there. Mike and Marie, great people. I recommend them to people, and that's the highest praise I think anybody can give anybody else in business. And by the same token, a friend of theirs and a friend of mine, Akil Kadir, the owner of Citizen Safety Academy in Murfreesboro. Akil is my training counselor for my NRA pistol certification. I have sent multiple people to him to get certified, and he always likes it when I send people his way. I mean, who wouldn't? And just an absolute wealth of knowledge. And Rangemaster USA certified instructor, and at the time of this filming has a class coming up, a Tom Givens Rangemaster class that Akil is actually going to be the primary instructor of, and that's really saying something. That's no small feat, to be sure. Really quality individual, very much so. Next person on the list as far as people who have taught me, I'd like to include Reed Hendricks on this list, and I've only taken 2 classes with Reed. And Reed is an outstanding person like all of the other people I have mentioned. Reed is almost exactly like you see him on YouTube. And the inspiration that I have taken away from Reed is you can be a quiet professional and still be exceptionally friendly to people at the same time. And you can teach a firearms class without foul language, without all the innuendo and stuff that are often associated with it. And because of that, I think he's a very positive role model for the firearms community. I love his political positions and his things that he talks about on YouTube, and who knows, I might use that as inspiration myself for future Patriot Training YouTube videos. But Reed Hendricks. Next on the list, last but not least, is going to be Tim Morris. Tim is an instructor at Tactical Response. And if Reed Hendricks is the yin, then Tim Morris is the yang. These two, their teaching styles could not be more diametrically opposed. We're talking about 180 degrees apart, ladies and gentlemen. And both are fantastic people. But, you know, Reed, you can't get a bad word out of him in a class. Tim Morris, you can't get through 5 minutes of class without one. Reed Hendricks is always really quiet and very intentional on his delivery, and while Tim Morris can certainly teach that way, his best coaching comes on the line, and it's very loud, not obnoxious, not at all, but very loud and boisterous, and you can see the difference in the individual personalities as they talk about it. And if you've seen a Tactical Response video and you see Tim talk, and he's just really, really quiet and almost shy on the video, and I don't know if it's camera shyness or what, but you get him out on the line, and the guy is just an absolute hoot to be around. He's that kind of guy that you think about, yeah, I want to go have a beer with this dude. So those are the instructors I'm thankful for. Those are all the things and people for which I am thankful. That brings us to the end of this video of thankfulness. And I would like to urge you, if you like what you see on the Patriot Training YouTube channel, I would like to urge you, hit like, subscribe if you wish, and click that notification bell so that you can get notified when we release a new video. And until the next time, my friends, I'd like to remind you, you don't have to be a patriot to train, but you do have to train to be a patriot. Take care.